Did you know that Wizardry is the game series that helped shape the future of RPGs and set the stage for dungeon crawlers, tactical combat, and immersive role-playing adventures? I've been doing some extensive research into the series, and now I'd like to share the history of this legendary franchise and touch on how its impact echoes in games even today. If you're a fan of the series, or the sounds of any interest to you, then stay tuned as I delve into the timeline of game titles that have been released for the Wizardry series. It began in 1981 with Wizardry, Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord, which released for the Apple II. This dungeon-crawling RPG, developed by Surtech, was revolutionary, setting the stage for future dungeon crawlers and becoming one of the pioneers of the RPG genre. Imagine a dark labyrinth where every turn could bring monsters, treasures, or death. For many, this was their first taste of role-playing games, and its influence on future RPGs cannot be overstated. The game was later ported to numerous platforms, including the Commodore 64, the NES, PC, and it's available today on GOG and Steam. With its immersive dungeon exploration and party-based combat, Wizardry became a timeless classic that would influence the future generations of RPG developers. After the success of the original game, Wizardry 2: The Night of Diamonds was released the following year in 1982. This sequel expanded the world and allowed players to continue their adventures using saved data from the first game, introducing one of the defining features of the series: seamless progression from one game to the next. The sequel offered new labyrinths filled with dangerous enemies, building on the formula that made the original game such a hit. In 1983, Wizardry 3: Legacy of Logomon came along, sending players on a quest to recover a mystical orb guarded by a dragon. The Wizardry series was known for its tough challenges, but it was one of the first games to integrate rich lore and unique quests. Fans of the series didn't see a new release until December of 1987, when Wizardry 4: The Return of Wordna flipped the script, making players take on the role of Wordna, the villain from the first game, as he tried to escape the labyrinth. This was a unique twist that defied RPG conventions and gave the series a darker, more complex narrative. The game originally released for the Apple II, but over the years it's been available on multiple platforms, including the first PlayStation. And in 1988, Wizardry 5: Heart of the Maelstrom introduced the first NPC conversations, adding a new depth to the world and giving players more interactive choices. It also expanded the game world to a new level, increasing the challenge and scope of the adventure. As the series evolved, so did its ambition. The 1990s brought us Wizardry 6: Bane of the Cosmic Forge, which marked a significant turning point for the series, introducing science fiction elements that would become a staple of later Wizardry titles. With this, the series started blending fantasy and sci-fi in a way that few other games had ever attempted before. This shift continued in Wizardry 7: Crusaders of the Dark Savant, which released in 1992. It continued the story from the previous game, taking players on an epic quest through space and time, cementing the Wizardry series' place in the sci-fi RPG genre. Meanwhile, 1996 saw the release of Wizardry: Throb of the Demon's Heart, a title that was exclusive to Japan and part of a spin-off of the series called Wizardry Gaiden, which integrated elements from the Bane of the Cosmic Forge into its gameplay. However, I think I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but while the core Wizardry series continued to evolve, spin-offs and side games began to emerge, expanding the franchise in new directions. In the early 1990s, Wizardry saw the release of the Wizardry Gaiden series, a set of 3 titles released exclusively for the Game Boy in Japan, with Throb of the Demon Heart eventually becoming the 4th title in the series. These titles included Wizardry: The First Episode, Suffering of the Queen, which released in 1991, Wizardry: The Second Episode, Curse of the Ancient Emperor, which released in 1992, and Wizardry: The Third Episode, Scripture of the Dark, which released in 1993, which was the year I was born. But I didn't get introduced to the Wizardry series until much later. The Gaiden series introduced players to new settings and challenges, offering a unique take on the Wizardry formula while laying the groundwork for future spin-offs for the franchise. If we fast forward to the late 90s and the early 2000s, we see the Wizardry Empire series. These games, which debuted for the Game Boy Color, were dungeon crawlers that closely followed the classic Wizardry gameplay style, but introduced new elements for a fresh experience. First title of the series released in 1999, but was released exclusively in Japan. but the gameplay closely followed the Gaiden titles but added more features from the Bane of the Cosmic Forge. While the second Empire game, Legacy of the Princess, released in 2002 and was a direct sequel that continued the Empire series tradition of dungeon exploration and expanded on the first game's systems. Wizardry Empire 3 released the following year and was titled Ancestry of the Emperor. This was the third and final title in the Empire series, further refining the core gameplay mechanics and bringing the story to a close. The Wizardry Empire games help keep the franchise alive on portable platforms, offering players new challenges while maintaining the traditional Wizardry experience. Like the Gaiden series, they offered fans more ways to explore the world of Wizardry while still retaining that dungeon crawling magic. With the arrival of the 21st century, the Wizard series expanded into new platforms and genres. In 2001, Wizardry 8 was released as the final numbered title in the main series, integrating exploration and combat systems into a unique gameplay experience that set it apart from its predecessors. It serves as the final game in the Dark Savant trilogy, which included the two previous main titles, Wizardry 6 and 7. The years following saw several more spin-offs, reboots, and mobile adaptations, while in 2009, Wizardry Labyrinth of Souls was released, which was a challenging title known for its unforgiving dungeons. And in 2011, Wizardry Prisoners of the Lost City continued the dungeon crawling trend, offering a mysterious city shrouded in fog for players to explore. 2 years later was also the PC release of my personal introduction to the series, Wizardry Online. While it was available in Japan the previous year, it wasn't available in US until 2013. In that time of my life, I was an avid MMO player, and I spent my teen years putting several hours, mostly into World of Warcraft. But whenever my subscription went down or I simply got bored, I would turn to the plethora of free MMOs that you could find on sites like MMOBomb or MMORPG.com. Wizardry Online was one such title, and I absolutely loved this game. It was my first experience with a game that had the looming threat of permadeath. You could sacrifice your items to save your character, though. I played as an adorable gnome cleric, and I often found myself aiding wayward adventurers that I found in trouble in the labyrinth, which in turn earned me many allies that helped me push deeper into the depths and progress my own character further than I could have on my own. I'm sad to say I only got to play this game for maybe less than a year, as the servers were unfortunately shut down in July of 2014. The official reason given was that they were unable to provide content due to the adverse marketing conditions of online gaming, whatever that means. I, however, was absolutely devastated by this news, but I moved on to play many other free MMOs and even went back to good old WoW a few times. But despite this disappointing event, this wasn't the end of games released for the Wizardry series. As we fast forward to 2024, the Wizardry franchise continued to innovate, with Wizardry Eternal Crypt, which was released as a blockchain game that challenges players to guide adventurers through treacherous dungeons in search of treasure, all while staying true to the series' legacy of dungeon crawling adventures. And the legacy of the series doesn't stop there. Even in 2025, new titles like Wizardry Variants Daphne and Wizlite Everybody Loves RPGs are keeping the magic alive, blending nostalgia with modern gameplay elements to captivate a new generation of RPG fans. Wizardry Variants Daphne was first released in August of 2023 for mobile and later became available for PC on Steam on March 6th of this year. This fresh entry into the series reimagines the classic formula, offering new mechanics and story elements while honoring the franchise's roots. With a new labyrinth and challenges to explore, Daphne brings the Wizardry experience to an even wider audience than before, including myself, as I've been having a lot of fun playing this game live on Saturdays recently. And I especially enjoy seeing how the story is unfolding. And while I haven't played this game yet, Wizlite Everybody Loves RPGs was released on December 18th of last year. This is a fast-paced 15-minute dungeon RPG that mixes classic command battles with roguelike gameplay. Though shorter in scope, it captures the essence of Wizardry's tense battles, dungeon exploration, and spell management, which is perfect for fans looking for a quick yet thrilling RPG experience. Also available on Steam and delivers a bite-sized dose of nostalgia with a fresh, fast-paced twist. This is definitely a title that I need to check out. And the final game in the series that's been released was 12 Goblins, which is a tap and merge game for mobile, which I'm personally not a fan of, but it is have an interesting concept to it where it's only available for Web3 mini apps that work with messaging apps. Not something I'm familiar with, but maybe that's the future of gaming. I don't know. While it may have started as a simple dungeon crawler in 1981, over the years, the Wizardry series has evolved into one of the most influential RPG franchises of all time. From its roots in classic dungeon exploration to its far-reaching sci-fi adventures, Wizardry has shaped the RPG genres that are felt even today. So whether you're a fan of the classic dungeon crawler or the more modern takes, there's no denying that Wizardry is the cornerstone of RPGs that we love today. Have you played one of the Wizardry games before, or do any of these titles look interesting enough that you might seek them out now? I'll have a link for each of these games in the description, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more from me and the Maelstrom Hold, be sure to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget to enable notifications. I'm Bonny Abomination. Until next time, bye!